The next speaker is Zachary Desjardins, and then Victoria Goebel. Are you Mr. Desjardins? Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, council members. My name is Zack Desjardins. I live at the corner of Commonwealth and Maple Street. I'm here to support council efforts to focus on capital investment, but I ask that your focus include Alexandria streets, not just our buildings and sewers. More specifically, I'm asking that making Alexandria streets safe for everyone be your top priority and among your budget priorities this fall and beyond. There was an article earlier in the week about Ryan Brown in the Washington Post. It reminded me of the human tragedy of traffic violence in Alexandria and the need for funding a bold plan to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries. 16 months ago, he was struck by a driver who ran a red light at 35 miles an hour on Duke Street. He did everything right, dutifully waiting to cross when the walk signal gave all cars in the intersection a red light. Statistically, he should be dead because that's usually what happens when someone is struck by a vehicle going 35 miles an hour. Recently, the National Transportation Safety Board noted that speed kills as many people as drunk driving and recommended the jurisdictions take urgent actions to ensure safe speeds. Luckily, Ryan was in that 10% that do survive at those high speeds. But 16 months after the crash, he and his family are not close to a full recovery. Survival offers no guarantees about recovery, and Mrs. Brown learned that a recovery can take years. He continues to require therapy and is unable to return to work. The city's website indicates that city staff are hard at work on a Vision Zero action plan. I ask that you hold them accountable to bring forward a bold plan, one that will achieve the objective of eliminating fatalities like Rosemary Cruz and 3 others in the last year, and serious injuries like those of Ryan Brown and Mike Doyle, making investments in curb extensions and pedestrian islands, and narrowing traffic lanes to reduce excess speeds, as well as policy decisions such as extending Duke Street's 35-mile-an-hour limit just half a mile west to North Quaker Lane, would preclude someone else from experiencing what Ryan, Jessica Brown, and their 2 boys have experienced. It's not only the Browns, but the Doyles, the Cruzes, and more than 100 other cases a year of people impacted by a traffic death or serious injury in this city. And in just 2017, and the year is not even up, 4 people were killed, and additional 90 were injured. While I understand the scope and importance of budget challenges, you can see it as you walk in the building here, I ask that you include making our city significantly safer as an important, but small slice of the budget. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Desjardins. Hold on one second, Councilman, Mr. Desjardins. We are in the midst of putting forward, working together with various communities, as you know, and working very hard. And in fact, Councilman Chapman and I and Chief Brown and many of his officers were at Duke and East Taylor Run and West Taylor Run and I think it was close to 2 hours recently. And of course, I'm personally very familiar with that whole intersection for various reasons at that hour. So we do take it seriously. Of course, we lowered the speed limit on Seminary and Quaker, and I think that's been very successful, and we're doing a lot more enforcement, as you might know, throughout the city. And we'll continue to look at all options. And of course, our thoughts are with Ms. Cruz's family, and of course Mr. Brown's family, as he's struggling to make a full recovery. And I just spoken with a close friend of theirs the other day to see how he was doing, and we are hoping for even more recovery. But I wanted to share with you and that we are waiting to hear back from that community, the tripartite agreement. So Councilman Chapman, and then if Mr. Jinks wants to weigh in at all.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Desjardins. Thank you for speaking today. I didn't catch what your recommendation was on Duke Street. You said something about a speed limit.
So right now, if you go west of Callahan Drive, the speed limit jumps from 25 to 35.
Gotcha.
And if you extended that little zone of 25 at half a mile, that would cover West Taylor Run. And it would make a lot of sense because the city recently had a map of the top 20 intersections with crashes, mostly car crashes. And 85% of them are on 35-mile-an-hour streets. We only have 12 35-mile-an-hour streets in the city. So speed really does have a major impact. And when you hit someone going 25, they have a much higher chance of recovery.
Thank you.
And less serious injury.
Thank you.
Okay. And in fact, that intersection, I believe at Duke and Quaker, is the one that
Yes.
has the most accidents in the city.
Madam Mayor,
Okay, Councilman Smedberg.
a while ago now, Rob Caprica and I were co-chairs of the Corridor Study Group, and that the Corridor B, Duke, and that intersection in particular are ones that the city will be looking at, particularly when redevelopment opportunities come forward. And so,
Of the 11, of the top 20, 11 of them involve Duke Street.
yeah, oh, I know.
We're very familiar.
We're well aware.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next